We know. Excuse me.
Good evening, this is your guest co-host, Andrew Hughes, sitting in for whoever else was our co-host before. And tonight we have our guest host, Brad. Brad? Donzie. We have speech team members tonight.
A lot of other stuff.
We have a huge audience, too.
Welcome to the 14th edition of WCHS Today. I'm your guest host today, Brad. And today we have members of the speech team here. Do we have a sports correspondent? Sports correspondent? Do we have a music correspondent? Okay. We have.
Any of those
Oh,
things.
no, wait.
At any rate, we have a big dumb joke.
Oh, no.
We have two.
Big.
Dumb
Joe!
Alright. We have two.
This is two. In regards to the New Kids concert, which I unfortunately didn't attend, probably all heard what's the difference between the New Kids in the Block and a pothole?
You swerve to miss a pothole.
Tell us, Andy.
You swerve to miss a pothole, which... See?
I get it!
You people are
That
slow!
was big and it was dumb.
No, I got the second one.
Okay.
Let's try for two. How do you keep a new kid in the block from drowning?
I don't know. Tell us how you keep a new
Take
kid.
your foot off his head.
I'm gonna kill you, Sean! That's
Was
the
that it?
answer, yeah.
That's my job.
It was big and it was dumb.
It wasn't a joke.
And you can determine that on your own. We have a weekly top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a weekly top 10?
Let Sean read it.
Not Andrew.
No, this is a really one-sided job. I
Find it.
Because this is written by
Somewhere.
WCHS Today.
No, this is written by...
Do you have this, Andy?
Yeah, I
Hermetically
do.
sealed.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
There it is.
Yay!
Top 10 list for this week is the top 10 things I found growing in my refrigerator last week.
Oh.
Has this been edited?
No.
No.
Well,
Unfortunately, it hasn't.
number 10 here was
Watch it.
directed toward someone who isn't here today,
Oh.
half of a duo to which one member is sitting to my left, and number 10 was Jake. Let's see. And I'm going to hear about this tomorrow, but, number 9.
Low flying
Fine.
fly.
Something that could easily pass for Woody's toupee. Hey, dinner. Keeping in mind here the
7.
the subject
Yeah,
here.
you may have to read it again.
Yeah, what's the
The
subject?
subject. Top 10 things I found growing in my refrigerator last
Okay.
week.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
We understand.
I don't.
6. Was that 6? Or no,
6.
is it 7? I don't know, but it made for a great smoke. 6. I don't know, but it needs a shave.
I never will understand you.
What timing, what grace? 5, Elvis. Had to slip that in there. I'm sorry. 4, whatever it was, it just ran down the hall. Quite right. 3, this week's audience.
Oh, hey.
Kill Andrew! Kill Andrew!
Yeah.
Kill him!
He's a bum.
No, that's fine.
Tomato. Hey.
2.
Two. Thank you. I thought it was a bowl of rice until something hatched.
Oh.
And number one, the number one thing I found growing in my refrigerator last week was a partridge in a pear tree. I don't get it.
Yay.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Andy.
I don't need this kind of abuse. I could go home if I wanted this kind of abuse.
Or it wouldn't be that quality.
It's okay, Andy.
We'll be the
Our door is
same.
still open to you. Okay, we have speech members of the speech team here. That's our special guest.
Don't be throwing
Yeah.
things. We can pick them up.
Ray Mines. We have Carrie Heifel, and we have Laura Ross. And you're here to talk about Voices in the Night? Answer
Yes.
some questions. Okay, what is Voices in the Night?
It's this Thursday night, and it's at 7 o'clock, and it's at it's in the Commons. And
stage.
What?
I got us the stage to use. Why is she doing it in the Commons?
I thought you didn't get us the stage.
I did get us the stage.
Anyway, it's in the high school.
Yeah, we're gonna have it at
Thursday
Washington
night.
High School, we think, or else the
7.
Continental Regency, whichever is better for you.
And the top performers from our speech team will be performing for the public, anyone,
Mm-hmm.
and it's free.
So it's open to anyone who wants to go.
Right.
Okay.
The whole purpose behind it is because Mrs. Ward wants to showcase the people who are on the speech team for the parents and the public to see, in the hopes of starting a parent booster club for the speech team at some point,
Okay, so this,
from a purely scientific point of view.
That is not the only reason why.
Yeah.
Ray.
Since it's since speech is really small, a small activity that's pretty much unknown.
Yeah.
It gives
Not
an
like the
opportu-
football team
It gives an opportunity for
or the basketball team.
the rest of the. Yeah. Anyway.
Ow.
Go on.
Gives the speech team an opportunity to.
To show what we do at competitions
Yeah.
during the season, since most of the people do not know what we do. So.
What happens at your competitions?
Nothing.
Laura, you want to answer that question?
Yeah. Speak.
Yeah. In front of how many people usually?
See, they divide us up into what they call rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only like 6 people per round, 6 or 7 people, and all you have to perform in front of is those people and then 1 or 2 judges.
Oh, okay. So it's
it's-
not like.
It's not like you sit in a big auditorium with 5,000 people and
Yeah.
speak. I mean,
Okay.
It's just
Usually
a
it's
small.
a very, very small
Very
classroom
small.
with horrible acoustics and people
Yeah.
blowing their noses all over the place.
And there's usually 1 or 2 judges depending,
Yeah, kinda-
and they
kinda like,
rank
you know.
you. There's about six students, speakers that will speak, and the judge ranks you 1 through 6
Mhm.
and
as
gives
what.
you a certain amount of speaker points.
Yeah. And I understand you placed first in one of the competitions this year, Carrie.
Yeah!
Which one was that?
Yeah, both Laura and I have placed first a couple times, and we've done pretty well, and Ray's also done very well.
Yeah. Okay. What competitions were those in? Were they
We've
state
had-
competitions?
Our state competition is not until the middle of February.
We have regional.
We have regionals this Saturday.
Nick Maroon, you're dead man. In case
Was
you're
he a
watching.
speech rival?
Yeah,
Ray's biggest rivalry is Limestone.
That's right. I hate him.
On our team, we don't have a team rivalry. It's a Ray rivalry.
Oh.
It's like a rivalry between me and their team.
So
Is
personal.
basically what
yes.
it is.
But we've had competitions at Richwoods, ICC,
Mhm.
Limestone, Hayworth,
All over.
all over.
Family.
Well, do a lot of traveling.
Not very
No,
far.
no, not really, no,
It's mainly in this area.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't go to any real tournaments very often.
Ah.
Getting us in trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway, so,
So,
Laura, do you have a speech prepared, or?
Laura is going to do one of her events. It's called Pros, and she's going to do it exactly the way that she would do it in a competition type situation.
Okay.
So,
So please don't blow your nose or anything while she's performing.
Hear that, Andrew? Thank you, Ray. for
Welcome.
those
But
enlightening-
she's very good, too. She is very good. Not to put any pressure on her or anything.
Now I'm gonna get up there and I'm going to babble. Just because you said that.
You're going to beat them just like you beat Limestone at ICC, Laura. That's what you're going to do.
Can you stand up?
Yeah, let's break the leg.
You know how I always seem to be struggling, even when the situation doesn't call for it? Well, I finally found a place where my struggling fits right in. The sunny Middle East. Today, I stood in a recently bombed-out train station. I looked at the charred, twisted metal and I thought, finally my outsides matched my insides. Maybe I should take a tour of the world's trouble spots and really relax. Okay, here's what I think now. Ready? I have to establish an overall plan for my overboard life. Here's what I've come up with so far. A, I'll get back into therapy, maybe with a woman therapist this time. B, I'll stop coloring my hair and dye it back to its normal color. I'll artificially go natural. C, I'll only date people I really like so I can feel like there's some point to it. D, I'll fix the eating thing. E, I'm going to slip my hand out of the comforting clasp of chemicals. No more drugs. Role-playing is an actress's life, but unfortunately when the role has ended and the actress steps out of the limelight, she is left struggling to figure out just who she is as a person. Actress Suzanne Vale is sure that no spotlight will ever shine on her again when she finds herself in a drug clinic after an overdose. But as she learns to face reality, she comes to some interesting conclusions about herself and her life. Postcards from the Edge by Carrie Fisher. Day 1. Maybe I shouldn't have given the guy who pumped my stomach my phone number. But who cares? My life is over anyway. Besides, what was I supposed to do? He came up to my room and gave me that dumb stuffed animal that looks like a thumb. And there I was, lying in bed 12 hours after an overdose. I wasn't feeling my most attractive. I spent the night before throwing up on him in the emergency room, so I thought it would be impolite to refuse to give him my telephone number. He probably won't call anyway. No one will ever call me again. Day 2. One of the therapists came in to admit me and asked me how long I'd been a drug addict. Well, I said that I didn't think that I was a drug addict because I didn't take any one drug. Then you're a drugs addict, she said. Then she asked me if I deliberately tried to kill myself. I was insulted by the question, but I guess when you find yourself having overdose, it's a pretty good indication that your life isn't working. Tomorrow, I get out of detox and start group. I hate my life. Day 3. All of the therapists here seem to be former addicts. They have this air of expertise. Drug addicts without drugs are experts on not doing drugs. I talked to this girl, Irene, at lunch today, and she said that in the beginning your main activity is a non-activity in that you simply don't do drugs. That's what we're all doing here, not drugs. Day 4. It was nice being outside. You feel less like you're being punished and more like a normal citizen. It's hard not to feel like an outcast in a drug clinic, but then again, it's hard not to feel like an outcast, period. I seem to be the only one here who's had their stomach pumped. It's an interesting distinction. Day 5. I'm consumed with panic that everyone will find out about this and hate me, or laugh at me, or worst of all, feel sorry for me. I can see where people would think that my life is so great. Why can't I feel it? It's almost like I've been bad and I'm being punished with rewards. The self-indulgent white chick who's in her voice says, "Look how spoiled you are. Go on, have another great thing." The positive way to look at this is that from here on out, things can only go up. But I've been up, and I've always felt like a trespasser, a transient at the top. And it's like I've got a visa for happiness, but for sadness, I've got a lifetime pass. I shot through my 20s like a thread through a dark needle, blazing toward my destination. Nowhere. Day 6. This is hard. I feel like I've got bugs flying around inside of me. I called my friend Wallace today, and I tried to get the operator to say,
"Collect call from hell. Will you accept the charges?"
after not feeling anything for years, I'm having this feeling festival. The medication wears off, and these feelings just fall on you. And they're not your basic fun feelings either. They're the ones you've been specifically trying to avoid. The ones you almost killed yourself to avoid. The ones that tell you that you're something on the bottom of someone's shoe. And not even someone interesting. I talked to my mom briefly. I was afraid that she'd be mad at me for messing up the life she'd given me, but she was very nice. She said a great thing. I told her that I was miserable here. And she said,
"Well, you were happy as a child. I can prove it. I have films."
what went wrong between what she gave me and how I took it? Day 12. I used up so much energy explaining why I was late, why I didn't show up, how I wasn't really loaded, I was just tired, I had jet lag. Avoiding looking people in the eyes because I couldn't stand how I felt when I saw the disappointment on their faces. That ate up a lot of energy. If I could accept that I am a drug addict, I could have all that energy back. So, I'm a drug addict. I guess we're all just allowed just so many drugs in one lifetime, and I've used up my coupon. From here on out, there's just reality. Day 13. This is not necessarily where I envisioned myself when I was young. I didn't stand up in school and say, my goal when I'm older is to be in a drug hospital, eating cafeteria food, watching The Outer Limits on TV, playing volleyball in the park, and not dealing with my feelings. I decided that drugs weren't the problem. Life was the problem. Drugs were the solution. Day 17. It struck me today that the people that have had an impact on my life are the people who didn't make it. Marilyn Monroe, Judy Garland, Montgomery Clift, Janis Joplin, John Belushi. It's not making it to be a Marilyn Monroe, but it is to me. In our culture, these people are heroes. There's something inside of that. A message that killing yourself like that isn't so bad. All the interesting people do it, the extraordinary ones. A weird, weird message. Most of the people I've admired in show business, comedians, writers, actors, are all drug addicts or alcoholics or suicides. And I get to be in that club now. It's the one thing that I cling to here. Well, I'm hip now, just like the dead people. Romancing the stoned. Day 30. I can't quite believe that I'm actually going home. I can't wait to drive. Maybe I'll go to the movies tonight. Anyway, I'm going to an AA dance in the Valley on Thursday. Maybe I'm going overboard, but what the hell? I must be brainwashed, because it feels so clean when I think.
Thanks, Laura. That was really good. What are the different types of speech? Like you mentioned prose, and I know there's ad-lib. What are the other types of categories you can get into?
There's
Ray does original comedy,
it's
and that means that he wrote his own speech, and it's
funny.
he tries.
He tries.
Try.
Here does oratory, and oratory is like a problem solution speech, and she wrote it herself. And then DAC is like an editorial, an article that was in a book or a magazine or a newspaper, and she does that too.
And yours is prose?
Mine's prose, which is short stories, and I also do verse, poetry. And there's a lot of different events. We have, what we told you that we do. There's
humorous and duet acting,
Yeah.
dramatic duet acting. One of them's funny, and dramatic duet acting is supposed to be a serious scene between two people.
Yeah.
You have dramatic interp and humorous interp, which is a funny scene depicted by one person doing two or more characters. And dramatic interp is a serious scene depicted by one person doing two or more characters. And that can be kind of tough. I tried that. And it's kind of rough to do that. But it's kind of fun, too.
And there's radio. And
There's two different, there's interpretation events, which someone else wrote and you interpret it yourself. And sometimes they're memorized, and sometimes, like Laura, she uses this book.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, well, she memorizes it, but you refer to the book. That's part of your speaking. And then there's also public address events, and I do those, and that's...
Then there's original comedy, which isn't even considered a real speech event in most states in the
it's
country.
public address.
Well, I don't even do a real speech event.
we all feel sorry for you, right?
Yeah, right.
How long did it take you to put together that particular speech?
A day.
Really? That's a talent. I mean, it sounds like
Thank
one.
you. I kind of did it the last minute.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that.
Well, thanks for coming on. I'm glad you See you, Ray.
Hi, Brad. Andrew. Ray.
You remember my name.
Hi, Ray.
Bye, Ray.
Leave, Ray.
Okay, we have an audience poll. That was really good. That was really good. I mean, I can't believe it only took her a day to put that together. That was really, really intense. Okay, we have
No, Nate, no.
excuse me?
Nate's asked me to do something, which...
Okay. We have an audience poll. What did you do during the Super Bowl? The first half, I sat with my mouth open. Third quarter, I called... No. Third quarter, I cried. Fourth quarter, I slept. Okay. Don't worry, I found something to do. We have a novel. Well, I wrote a novel called What to Say After You Get Off a 24-Hour Bus Ride. Here's an example. Help, it must be Kansas, I think. I will be sick. Has anyone seen my water? If I ever hear hamburger, french fry, soda, pizza again, I will kill you. This is old stuff.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Watched hockey. And that's all.
Yeah. Family show. We are public.
Whoa.
Throw it out here.
Thought about the world's
Get the
problems
toxic gloves.
and how Brett Donzi just seems to make them worse. I'll get you.
I'll try.
Brad, look up at the ceiling and close your eyes slowly.
Look up at the ceiling. Close your-
That's a tricky one, Drew.
Yeah.
He told me to do it.
Ate popcorn, watched Joe. Ate cookies, watched Joe. Ate pizza, watched Joe. Drank soda, watched Joe. Cheered at end and watched the pepper scene. Who's Joe?
Joe.
Montana.
Montana.
Okay.
He plays in.
I knew that. I knew that.
Yeah, I know.
I knew that.
These people think we're so stupid.
I was over at Brad's house while he wasn't there, and I killed Wally.
Lynch mob.
This is mine.
Oh.
Watched the cheerleaders at halftime and waited for the Simpsons to come on, which I might add couldn't have been more funny than the stupid bull.
Oh.
I was with the Chippendales.
You mean the Rescue Rangers? Oh, not the Rescue Rangers.
I talked to Jay on the phone. Okay?
Hey, that's funny.
Changed the channel and watched. And
Juan Valdez.
Thank you. I was the streaker. Hmm.
You didn't
I don't
read
know.
mine. Are those all of them?
Yeah? Yours is probably the one I threw out.
Mine's in here somewhere.
Okay.
Wait a second. Mine's in here somewhere. Gotta be.
We have some things coming up in music. Let's see. In March, I believe it's in March, the Show Choir Classic. I'm not sure of the exact date yet. I have it written down somewhere, but I usually don't pay attention to it until about a week before Mrs. Zook tells us that we have to be there. So it's sometime in March, the Show Choir Classic. It's a bunch of show choirs from all around the area that get together and put on their show. It's not a competition. It's just basically a get together, and it's a lot of fun. And there'll be more information about that later. State competitions. All-state was this past weekend with the all-state choir, and that went really well. I heard they sang for quite a long time. They practiced for 5 hours on Saturday, I think it was, and it was a lot of fun. I'm sure they met. I wasn't there. I'm sure they met a lot of people, and didn't get much sleep. I heard they stayed up quite late Friday night, and so that about wraps it up. So That's it for
Goodbye.
WCHS Today.
You have
Bye.
to pick these things up. Yeah, I thought you'd stop.